Got these Carrier air-cooled chillers today. Gonna be doing the PMs on them. These are some screw compressors. So I'll be leak searching them, doing a full operation log. I've already had the coils cleaned, and so now we'll just be making sure everything's 100% once it's said and done. Going through all the calibrations, all the sensors, all the everything. Now this one is supposed to have had a VFD issue, so we'll jump on that and see what it's going to take to get that fixed. This is the first time for us to do the PM on this account. Just took it over, so get to really get a good assessment, see where we're at. So while going through the PM over here on these Carriers, this is a B1 condenser fan motor. It's the VFD that controls it. It obviously shorted out, blew up. Now I've tested the motor with just my regular meter, and it tested good. But I'm also going to go get my megger. I'm going to meg that motor just to be sure that there's not any question as to whether it's going to hold up or not. But as of right now, we'll get all that sent off to the customer, and it'll be up to them to whether or not they want to get it fixed and when. So part of what I'm doing right now is I'm checking calibration on all the sensors. Now if these thermometers and these pressure gauges aren't reading correctly, I'm going to recommend replacement on those. And then these have Pete's plugs on them. What this is just a plug that sticks down into the water, but it's got a rubber grommet in there that you can shove a needle through and either get a pressure reading, temperature reading, whatever. What I found is these are little grill thermometers I found on Amazon, but the needle tip on them is small enough they'll actually fit down inside there just perfect, where we can actually get a reading on them. And so what I'm doing here is I'm comparing. This one's reading good, so I just that's the same exact thing on these two that I'm getting on my display for the chiller. So what that does is confirm to me that they are reading properly. And that's all part of my annual service. Alright, so we're reading 43 here. A minute ago it did say 44, so it's fluctuating a little bit, but it's within tolerance for me. That display there takes a minute to update each time. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going through all of our various sensors and settings. I'm confirming calibration on all of it. Evap pressure is our economizer gas temp. I want to check everything, make sure it is doing what it says it's doing. This Carrier has a bad condenser fan contactor. It's got 24 volts in the coil, but it's not pulling in. So customer approved putting a new one in, so we'll get them switched out, get her back online. Funny thing is, that's actually the same circuit that they lost the condenser fan VFD on. So right now they've only got 2 circuits running on that, or 2 fans running on that circuit. So that'll really help that compressor out. So this is a heater cabinet. This is a heater that has SCR heat in it. You can see them there with the white squares. So what happened here is the original SCR heater went out, and it failed. It shorted to ground to itself, and it wasn't actually controlling the heat. So what should happen is that SCR should be modulating the heat through there, so it actually controls a regulated pulse to modulate the amperage running through those heaters, so that it can actually, and if we don't want to send 100% of its kW through there, so if they're 5K each, say we could modulate it down to where they only produce, say, 2K each at a time, and we can fluctuate that up and down as needed. This manufacturer actually doesn't produce a 3-phase version anymore, so with 3-phase you have to control 2 of the 3 legs of power going through the heaters. And so what I had to do was purchase a second of their single-phase version and then install them on top of each other. And so you can see there's 2 green boards there. That's technically 2 single-phase SCR controllers stacked. Originally there was one large 3-phase one in there that had 2 legs of control. In the future, there is a company that produces a different version where it's an aftermarket build that they can do to have a 3-phase control. So we went ahead and ordered that. It takes a couple of weeks for them to build it. So they're going to put that together and send it back to us. And that way, if they have a failure in the future, we're not trying to get parts from the manufacturer. We already have a 3-phase controller aftermarket. We can just go in and install and be done with it. Now, this other picture with the Honeywell box controller, that actuator just failed on it. That's a real common issue to start having. They weren't getting good space temp control. So we just need to replace the actuator on that Honeywell, and it'll be good to go. Working on this carrier today, and this EXV was giving me trouble, and it didn't look like it was adjusting properly. So sure enough, I pull it out, and all that comes out is this. It's supposed to have this attached to it. I look down in there, and that's just sitting there in the bottom still. And yeah, normally what you would do is, if you were questioning whether or not this was any good, you'd have to recover the whole system down, but you could pull this out and inspect it and then actuate it. So whenever I was testing it, I could still hear the motor actuating in and out. But it wasn't actually changing anything, and my evaporator kept pumping down on me. So I was in the process of trying to figure that out, and at first I thought I had oil in my barrel. Then I got to looking at this, and yeah, we definitely found the problem. So I've got a new actuator head. One of the things I'm looking for is I'm going to check for any damage. I want to make sure I clean this up as much as possible inside. And then I'm just going, instead of sweating this whole body out, I'm going to just replace this head. The body, so far, I don't see any obvious damage. So if there's any scoring, anything inside there at all that would give me concern, this could try to stick internally, right? But I don't see that so far. I'm going to finish inspecting it. As long as I don't find that, I'll just pull the head off of the new valve and just install it on this one to be good to go. So yeah, well, it's pretty interesting. I've seen these fail. This is the first one I've seen actually come apart. All right, so that was I was not expecting that, but as soon as I pulled it out, I saw that the rest of the head didn't come with it. I said, well, that's got to be my problem right there. One of the things I've verified here is this is the part number. It's also stamped on the front of the valve, and I've confirmed that the valve body part number is identical. So that's exactly what I want to see. I want to make sure that that these valves are an identical match, so that when I switch the heads out, they're good to go. I'm also going to switch out this the sight glass here to get a fresh one in there with a new indicator as well. I think that'll be good for it too. This is our new one versus old one. You can see the difference in the damage.